Hello, everyone. Welcome to M2M Coverage. We sit here minutes after the Blazers just defeated the Nets in a close game. I did not expect this close of a game. Brooklyn gave Portland all they had, but Portland pulled through in the end. And today we are joined by Avi Gupta, a Blazers fan who's from Portland, and he's also a Teen Jeopardy winner. So thanks for coming on the show, Avi. How you doing?
No,
How you
it's great to
feeling?
be here. Thank you so much for having me. Just, still trying to process all the emotions after that exciting finish. It was really down to the wire, but with the Blazers, it always is.
Yeah, and can we just get your initial reaction to the fact that you guys are going to be in a play-in against the Grizzlies on Saturday?
Yeah, well, coming into this bubble, I mean, Dame said it best. All we wanted was a chance to make the playoffs, and we got that. We executed down the stretch when it matters. And I think this is honestly the best possible outcome because you're going up against a debilitated Grizzlies team, missing, I think, their second leading scorer in Jaren Jackson Jr. And also you have, of course, the advantage of being the higher seed in the play. And so I think we have them right where we want them. But the important thing is now to come out and continue to execute.
Yeah, and I love the mentality that Dame has said in his post-game interviews. He said, "I didn't come to the bubble to waste time." So I just love that mentality, and I guess you can call all of us bandwagons, but you've been on the Portland Blazers train since the beginning.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've been a Blazers fan since like 2008. So I've been here with the highs and the lows. And, when you have a generational talent like Damian Lillard, it's hard not to root for a team like the Blazers, especially, with the personality he has both on and off the court.
Okay, Kevin and Geoffrey, you guys are also here. What is your reaction to how the Nets made it an extremely close game? If LeVert made that shot, we have no idea what happens with the Blazers. Geoffrey, what is your reaction?
Yeah, so unlike another team who had the easiest schedule in the league and completely managed to choke it, the Blazers and the Suns came to play. They have been amazing throughout the season. They are one of the hardest schedules, and they beat really good teams, especially the Blazers. Damian Lillard didn't come here to make the playoffs. He came here to win a championship. He has been amazing. He has been averaging more than 30 points a game. And I would like to offer my condolences to the Suns. What happened to them is just horrible. You had a bubble MVP candidate, and he averaged almost 30 points a game, and you went 8-0, and you didn't make the playoffs because of a team that went 2-7. And about the Memphis Grizzlies, they're they haven't been good whatsoever. They lost to a team that shall not be named with Jaren Jackson. If the play-in was the Suns and the Trailblazers, I could honestly see the Suns maybe steal a game, maybe even win the play-in. But with the Trailblazers and Memphis, they're going to get destroyed. Trailblazers are definitely making the playoffs.
Yep, I agree with you there. I think Blazers make the playoffs. I also would like to offer my condolences to the Suns. It's horrible to see a team go 8-0, play so well, and not make the playoffs, but that's how the league set it up. Memphis won 2 out of 8 games, didn't even beat the Pelicans. I'll name the team if you won't name them. But yeah, it's not what we like to see as neutral fans, but it's what the NBA followed its rules, and that's how it works. And so we're going to be seeing a play-in where Memphis has to win 2 games, Portland wins 1, and then we'll have an exciting playoffs, definitely. Kevin, how far do you see the Blazers going in the playoffs, if you see them going on?
Well, first, I don't think they're going to destroy the Grizzlies. I think even though the Grizzlies have performed badly, they know that this is going to be a must-win game for them, and they know that they blew that 8 seed away. So I expect John Morant to bring that intensity to the play-in game. But ultimately, I do think the Blazers are going to win the play-in. They're probably going to win it in just one game, but it'll probably be a close game. And I do think that they will challenge the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, pre-bubble, Lakers were playing out of their minds, but now they look very disoriented. LeBron missed 2 open layups today. They just don't look like that team that we always thought was the dominant team of the West. We all thought it was going to be Lakers and Clippers, but now Damian Lillard's playing with intensity. And honestly, I I think Skip Bayless should get some credit for Dame playing out of his mind because he got him ticked off. So now Dame is like, I'm going to prove all my haters wrong. But just mentioning the Phoenix Suns, they went 8-0, and I do feel bad for them, but it's not the Blazers' fault that Phoenix was so far behind in the standings to start off with. I think 8 games was a good amount of games that the NBA offered. And if you look back before the bubble, Phoenix lost to the Blazers. That was their last game pre-postponed, when the league was on hiatus. Their last game was the loss to the Blazers. And before that, they lost to the Pistons and the Warriors, 2 teams not even in the bubble. So Phoenix fans cannot really complain because they lost to very, very bad teams before coming into the bubble, and they were so far behind. But hats off to them for going 8-0.
That's a great point. This is not just based on the bubble. Obviously, we're contributing the whole season. We're including that in our assessment of who makes the playoffs. So very valid points with regards to Phoenix. Avi, as far as Blazers, I heard Charles Barkley say that the Blazers are going to the finals on TNT the other day. What do you make of that? And do you think your team can actually upset the Lakers?
That's a good question, but I just want to start by acknowledging the Suns. I mean, the future is bright in Phoenix, right? They were missing some quality players coming into this bubble, and they came out and played some great basketball. So I was mentioning this before we went live, but 14 out of the 15 teams in the West, I'm sorry, Kings fans, are going to be dangerous heading into next year. So either way, whenever this next season resumes, we have some exciting basketball on the way. But about this season that we still have going on, I agree with, Kevin's assessment. I think the Blazers are probably going to dispatch the Grizzlies in one game. They're not an opponent to be taken lightly, but frankly, the Blazers, in my opinion, maybe I'm a biased fan here, have the best player in the bubble right now in Damian Lillard. And looking ahead to a potential Lakers series, I think if you're judging by right now, the execution, again, maybe I'm being biased, the Blazers have the best player in that series in Damian Lillard. And I don't think the Lakers have an answer for him. I mean, who are you going to put on? Like Caruso is their matchup for Damian Lillard. And of course, the argument is that the Blazers don't have a good matchup for LeBron or Anthony Davis. And so it's going to kind of become like a lot of the Blazers games, a shootout in which team figures out a way to stop the other team's star first. But I do think that with how discombobulated and disjointed the Lakers have looked, the Blazers have a realistic chance of scoring that upset. And if you look at looking ahead to a potential second-round matchup, since you asked me about going to the finals, and of course we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but if you're looking at, I think they're playing the winner of Rockets Thunder, if I'm not mistaken. And the Blazers, I think, match up exceptionally well with the Rockets historically. We all know about the Dame Russ thing, but Dame has consistently played at a high level against the Rockets. And if you look actually in this bubble, the Blazers did beat a Rockets team at full strength. And don't quote me on this, but I think 2 out of Harden's 7 lowest scoring games on this season have been against the Blazers, just because of a highly effective diamond trapping scheme out of the pick and roll that's really limited his effectiveness and led Westbrook to shoot them out of a lot of games. So I think the Blazers have a realistic shot of making a deep run. And people forget that, as bad as this team has been in the regular season, decimated by injuries, this is still pretty much the same team that made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. So while I definitely don't think the Blazers are locked to make the finals or even the second round, I do think they're a very dangerous team. And as others have said, one of the more dangerous 8 seeds we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that's a great point. I just like to mention the Blazers defense, which is, in fact, not looking great. I mean, they're giving up 120, 130 points, but that's just how they play. Dame
What
and
defense,
CJ.
man? I'm not familiar with this. I'm not familiar with this concept.
Yeah, what defense? But yeah, Dame and CJ and Nurkic as well. The way they play is good shooting, outscore the opponent, whatever you can do. And also with the come up of Gary Trent, he's shooting out of his mind. His percentage, I'm pretty sure, is insane. He's a good bubble player.
Yeah, and for a while there, he was actually leading the bubble in threes made, and Dame was second. And I don't know how that shaked out now because Gary had a couple of bad games. But I do think the Blazers are very dangerous, especially against a Lakers team that, frankly, is lacking depth and chemistry. I mean, if you look at how bad LeBron and AD have, frankly, been in the bubble compared to where they could be, there's a chance that against a team like the Blazers, the Lakers don't get their things sorted out, get their house in order. It could be a very dangerous series. But at the end of the day, I mean, all respect to playoff LeBron, right? He's a great player.
Yeah,
and,
you got to
double
trust.
Kuzma, I guess.
Yeah, if Kuzma can be that third wheel, but you got to trust in the stars. In my opinion, I see 6 or 7 games possibly for the series, but I still see like the slight edge to the Lakers just because of that experience. And another thing I'd like to mention is the toll that this must be taking on Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. The amount of minutes they're playing, every single game has been a playoff game for the past few games, and they're really getting exhausted with Dame putting up 40, 50, 60 points. I don't know how sustainable that's going to be. Geoffrey, Kevin, do any of you want to add to that or express your concerns regarding Lakers Blazers?
Yeah, I like to add on to that point, actually. I think Dame and CJ McCollum are top 2 in minutes played per game in the bubble. That's actually crazy. Like, the Blazers have been completely relying on them. And whereas, yes, the Lakers may have been bad, but if you look at the minute usage of LeBron and AD, they've had some games off. So they're probably going to be super fresh for this series. But I think it goes without saying that, because of the bubble and because of the hiatus, this is not going to be your conventional playoffs. Literally anyone can win. Even the Brooklyn Nets, who their entire team was not here, and they play competitively. And I mean, I'm not going to say that they're going to upset the Bucks or the Raptors or Bucks, but Raptors, yeah, they're not going to upset the Raptors, but they're going to play competitively. I don't expect any sweeps to be in the first round.
Even Bucks Magic?
I don't think so. I mean,
so
even though the Magic lost Jonathan Isaac, who's I think is one of the top defenders in this league, Giannis kind of is losing that nice man persona. He's people are getting in his head now really easily. Like, you're gonna headbutt Mo Wagner. Like,
who is that guy?
like that's. I mean, the Bucks obviously are really good. But I'm feeling some type of frustration from them, especially from past games. And I don't know if they're going to be in the right headspace to really just take over the whole series.
Yeah, and about the Lakers Trailblazers match, I don't think enough people talk about the Lakers missing Avery Bradley. He was one of the best defensive guards, and they don't have him anymore. So I think Damian Lillard is just going to have a really, really good game against them. So it's all up to if LeBron and AD can show up, and if they play good, they're probably going to beat the Blazers.
Yep. Yeah, I'm hearing good points all around. Oh, yeah. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, the other thing is CJ's playing with a broken back. I don't know how much national media coverage has been with this. Yeah, he's playing with a fractured L3 vertebrae. And while, that's not a serious injury, there's no risk necessarily for playing with it. It is a lot of pain. It takes a toll on your body. But I do think in the bubble, with the lack of travel and no need for planes and, sleeping in different hotel rooms every night, that does mitigate some of the effects of fatigue. But Dame and CJ have consistently been among the minutes leaders in the NBA for the past 5 years. And so they are built for this, but you have to wonder if they're going to tire eventually. And that's why I think it's so vital that the Blazers get out of there in one game in the play-in series this weekend so that they get, Sunday and Monday off before the first round of the 1-8 match in the West on Tuesday.
And just one thing to also add in, I was just thinking back to this interview that John Morant did with, I think, Rachel McNichols, where he was saying that he thought the play-in was unfair, and now he's not even the 8th seed. So, honestly, I think besides the state of Tennessee, the whole world is rooting for the Blazers. Besides Lakers fans, because everyone wants to see a Blazers-Lakers first-round series. That is prime TV. That's going to make the NBA so much money. And, the team that should not be named, the NBA did everything to set them up to have a Zion versus LeBron matchup, but no one wants that. Everyone wants a Dame versus LeBron matchup. And I'm ready to see it as an NBA fan, as a, NBA fan now, just with no team affiliation. I'm rooting for the Blazers. I like an underdog story, and I think Dame is one of those guys who, as a small market fan, I love Dame because what he has done is not going to super team. He's staying in Portland in that small market, and he's lifting small market teams up. And this is what I want to see across the NBA. Star players staying in their small markets, so that is not just the big market teams always taking over the NBA. So I love Portland. I'm rooting for them, and I hope that they take the Lakers to Game 7.
Yeah, Memphis is a small market team as well, and Ja has brought them to relevance. So I guess both teams are looking good from that perspective. But yeah, as fans, I'm rooting for Blazers as well. I'm sure we're all rooting for Blazers, but Avi must be rooting the most for the Blazers to go all the way. But yeah, does anyone else have anything to add on, or are we done? Are we ready
The other
to?
thing, sorry.
Yeah.
The other thing with the Blazers-Lakers matchup that you have to think about is if you remember right after the untimely demise of Kobe Bryant in January, the first game at Staples was against the Portland Trail Blazers. On Kobe Bryant night, that was the night when all the Lakers were introduced, I think, as number 24 in honor of Kobe. And it was a very emotional night for everyone. And Dame came out and hung like 50 on the Lakers in Staples and shocked them on national TV in a game where LeBron was, touted to be playing to defend Kobe's legacy. And, I think Dame's really shown an affinity for the big moments throughout his career, recent free throw line performance notwithstanding. And I really think that, if there's an 8th seed that can take down a LeBron and Anthony Davis-led team, it's the Portland Trail Blazers. And, as a fan, I'm just so happy that despite all the adversity, despite all the challenges, despite, at different points, basically having all 5 of our starters be injured at different points this season and losing, permanent long-term starters like Nurkic, Zach Collins, Rodney Hood, Ariza's out now, Lillard and McCollum missed time, that we're still in this position, we got a shot. And so whatever happens, I'm just, so grateful to Damian and CJ for all the effort they've put in to lift this team, from what was a pretty dark era in the early 2010s to relevance through their just loyalty and chemistry and perseverance.
Love the history that you brought back. I think that's very interesting to hear because not everyone might know about Portland and how they've been through the years. But Dame and CJ have been there a while. They have that chemistry. You're definitely right. I can't wait to watch this Grizzlies Blazers game. Tomorrow there's some irrelevant games, but Saturday is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the playoffs. They're here. We can't wait. Thank you for watching M2M Coverage. This is Suraj signing off.